Good morning, Will. It's great to be here today. Well, it's been very challenging this year for boaters to who want to comply with the Coast Guard regulations because people that shop online at Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com are seeing products that are claiming to be Coast Guard approved. You'll notice in the copy it doesn't say approved for what. And in fact, they are not Coast Guard approved devices. They're basically strobe lights, very cheaply made strobe lights, and they are not replacement for pyrotechnic flares. For anyone who has questions about what products are and aren't, all you have to do is look at the product itself because it's required by the Coast Guard that the regulations that the device complies with has to be printed somewhere on the device. And these cheap strobes have no compliance mentions whatsoever. If you ever have a question about a device, be it a life jacket, an electronic visual distress signal, there is a Coast Guard website that will allow anybody to search equipment and to make sure that what you're buying is in fact a Coast Guard approved device. Well, currently there are a number of manufacturers that produce electronic visual distress signals. Obviously, Sirius Signal, ACR, Orion, Ocean Signal. All these devices range in prices anywhere from $69.95 to $239, depending on the device itself. So if you see something online, which you'll find on Amazon or Walmart.com, that's $19.95 for three or $9.95 for one, that should be a red flag because you cannot make a device that is Coast Guard compliant that cheaply, no matter where it's made. Absolutely, that's one of the advantages of electronic visual distress signals over pyrotechnics is that you can test the device before you go out on the boat. It's kind of hard to test the flare before you go out. So we always recommend you test your devices. The strobe lights, you'll find some of them work, some of them don't work. Some of them flash colored signals, but none of them flash the SOS signal, which is required by the Coast Guard to be electronic visual distress signal. Now, all these devices are what are called nighttime visual distress signals. So that's just one half of the proposition. All of the products that we sell and most other manufacturers sell come with a daytime distress flag, which is the other half of the proposition. So you have both a day and nighttime visual distress signal should you need it. Here are two examples of the fake ones. This one was from Walmart. This one was from Amazon. It uses AA batteries. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like right now, it doesn't seem to want to work. And these are brand new batteries that I tested before I put in there. Oh, here we go. Well, it flashed a little bit. This one's really interesting from Walmart. It's solar powered, which is kind of a cool, but the problem is it only turns on if it's in the dark. So you can't test it in the daytime. And again, it doesn't flash SOS. It just is a strobe light. The solar charged one from Walmart sounds like a very cool idea, except most people store their emergency equipment either in a ditch bag or in a compartment in the boat itself. So it's never going to be exposed to the sun. And again, how do you test it? Because it only turns on when it's dark and then find out that it's not working, that would be very bad. These do not have any Coast Guard regulation con- conformance notations on them at all. These don't, another one, these were $9.95 each, $14.95 for two, $19.95 for three, and they're pretty worthless. If what you're looking for is something to replace flares, these are not it. So all devices, ours included, have in fact the regulation they comply with on the device itself. ACR does the same thing, Orion does the same thing, Ocean Signal does the same thing, because that's part of the compliance from the Coast Guard. There are different rules in regards to Canada for people that vote on the Great Lakes. Um, Transport Canada only accepts a two color light as a replacement for flares for a nighttime visual distress signal. And they still require you to carry a smoke flare. They don't recognize the orange flag that's behind me as a daytime distress signal. So if you're on the Great Lakes, you're boating in Canadian waters, white only lights do not replace flares in Canadian waters, and you still have to carry a smoke flare for a daytime distress signal.